there isn't much to do. The only option to really bring back the cycle is either to kind of alter your lifestyle if you can, and it's hard if you're, if you're in seminary or a college student, or go on birth control pills. But it's not necessary, depending on what the circumstance is. But you just want to make sure that there isn't something else going on. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be just this kind of disruption, and when college and seminary is done, your cycles will go back to normal.
Okay. So nothing to do for now. Okay. Um, okay. So, anything to add or any last minute questions? I know somebody PM'd me, but I don't know. I'm not that advanced. I don't know how to check messages while on a live. I'm sorry. Ruchi Herman is sitting here and she said you can message her if you'd like and she'll tell it to me because I can't X out of a live. I mean, there's got to be a way. I'm not technological like that. So if you'd like, you could quickly message Ruchi Herman because she's with me and she will tell me what it is.
I'll add, we were just talking a lot about PCOS and kind of the different aspects of PCOS, just to plug my next, like I do all these webinars and Instagram lives. I'm doing one with JOMA, which is the Jewish Orthodox Women's Medical Association, next Sunday. So, this coming Sunday is Erev Shavuos, the following Sunday, and it's all about PCOS. We're talking a little bit about the reproductive stuff, but also like the endocrine, how it affects metabolism. And we have a dermatologist who's talking about the skin aspects of it. So if this is an interesting, if this is something that you're interested in, you can go to the JOMA website or the JOMA Instagram and sign up for that. And it'll be really, really great. I see someone talking about whether their period blood is red or not. It can, everybody's different, and it can be different throughout your life. It's really not something I would worry about. And one of the common things I get, since we're on this topic, is women who tell me, oh, when I was in my early 20s, my period was 4 or 5 days and was really heavy. And now I'm in my late 20s or early 30s and it's only 3 or 4 days and it's much lighter. That's super normal. It happens to everybody. And people don't really talk about it. And if you're single or if you're struggling to conceive, you get very worried that this is somehow a sign of infertility, but it's actually not. It's a very normal thing. It's part of growing up. When we're younger, the fluctuations of our hormones and our periods are just much wider. And as we get older, they're just a little narrower. And so the lining of the uterus is not quite as thick every month, but it's still plenty thick enough for pregnancy. And so if you start to notice that phenomenon, totally normal. The one phenomenon I will say that can sometimes be more concerning and is worth kind of checking in is if you notice the period cycles are getting shorter. So longer, like we said, dropping cycles can sometimes happen just with all these stress. Shorter, where let's say you used to have 28-day cycles, but now you have 23-day cycles. That isn't always, sometimes it's fine, but sometimes it's a sign that the egg supply is getting low and it's worth getting checked out.
Someone asked, what about if she has lumps in her periods?
It's normal.
Normal? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to say that dieting also used to be like a dirty word or like something that people didn't talk about because I'm doing this for like almost 16 years and it used to be like if somebody would bring their child for a consultation or even themselves, they were like, I hope no one saw and like that nobody needs to know and nobody needs to see and everything was like very, very hush hush and like almost like embarrassing or whatever. And now kids are like proud to bring our muffins to school and like kids are proud to show their friends that they're drinking water. Everything transitioned. Like every store has healthy food, almost every store, or at least alternative options. So I know this is different, but I feel like it's just a matter of time before this also becomes more spoken about and more acceptable and more accepted. But in the meantime, while it's maybe in your community or in your circles, it's not. I don't want to use the word the clock is ticking. That's like the last thing you want to hear. But as Dr. Maslow explained, like with every year that we get older, we have less and less eggs, right? Am I explaining it properly? So just maybe if this whole event, whatever talk, inspires even just one person to either themselves find out if this is a good option for them or to talk to someone who it might be a good option for, like even if just one person benefits from it, I think that's great. And definitely don't be stuck in a box or like what people will think, because at the end of the day, it's like really just for yourself. Like you're not doing anything for anyone. And honestly, no matter what we do, people will always have comments and opinions and thoughts and, why are you eating that? Why are you not eating that? Why are you on a diet? Why are you not on a diet? Like, people always have stuff to say. So just ignore them and just do your thing. Okay. And I'll just tell you, like, a quick thing. Like, the day I realized that I'm mature, like, speaking of growing up, besides my cycles getting shorter, I guess that's one way. But I fell on 13th Avenue. I was like 32 or 33, and I tripped and I fell on 13th Avenue, and I got up and I just kept walking. And when I walked away, I was like, hey, I didn't even look to see if anybody saw. Like the immature me in my 20s and my teens would be like, oh, who saw me? Like, especially because everyone knows me in Bar Park. I was like, I didn't even think about it. I just kept walking. I just made sure that, like, I'm not hurt, and I just kept walking. So I think part of maturity, and I think we're all mature. Otherwise, I hope there are no kids on this live. I think that, we're all mature enough to be, just doing what's good for us. So if this is what's good for you, and you'll discover that on your own, then do what you got to do. Find out the information, call an organization, call a doctor, do some research, do what you got to do. And you'll see that within a couple of years, this too will be very, very acceptable and almost like the norm, because more and more people are getting married later. More and more people are focusing on their careers first. And like Dr. Maslow said, before you know it, it's like, oh, whoops, what about getting pregnant? What about having a family? So just do what you got to do. Ignore the world unless, there's a good reason not to. And thank you so much for giving of your time and explaining everything. And there's just one more question. Eating disorders and low BMI can stop a period as well, which is a very important topic to discuss as to why I have, yes, so we did discuss that. You might have missed it, but we totally discussed that. So that's not a question. So thank you, Dr. Maslow, and thank you everyone who joined us. We have a lot of viewers here. We have a lot on Zoom. So I'm glad that so many people are interested in this. Even if it's not for you, go tell someone. Of course, bring up the topic sensitively. I'm sure that a time has videos or webinars on sensitivity training. Like, obviously, you can't go to someone and just say it. I'm sure there's ways to say it, but hopefully this opened your eyes and your mind to the possibilities and the options. And I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful Shavuos. And thank you, Dr. Maslow, and thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. And now, hold on. How come she never responds?